Hey everybody, Z Garcia here, and today we're going to be sending out expedition leaders and trying to follow clues to a lost world in Lost Explorers. In this game, you're going to be deploying your little explorers here, your little meeples, sending them out to collect tiles for you that you can use either as transportation on the one side or as a mission on the other side, and then going to those places and cashing in those missions, moving up on these tracks, trying to get 4 clues before anybody else. If you're the first one to do that, you're going to win the game. So let's go ahead and take a look at how the game works. You play right out of this box here by opening this up. And then you've got the board right here and some tokens that are used over on this side. But before I get too far ahead of myself, let me show you how it works, what it looks like. I'll see you on the other side. So here we've got the game set up for 3 players. We are going to give each player 3 of these little explorers. You got 4 tokens you begin with from a starting pool. And you are going to keep 3 of them on the vehicle side and flip one of them face over, okay? So orange player, white player, purple player over there. And then there's one extra one that you leave aside, one of these characters, one of your little explorers. We are also going to add a number of locations that are already check marked to the board, depending on the number of players. So for 3 players, we are going to add 3 of them. So we randomly pull from this little stack of 4. This one came up, so we will leave it, flip it over, and leave it as a check mark there. This one came up, and then we'll pick one more from the 2 left over here. And it is over here. So we will also mark that one. I'm sorry, over here. That one will also be marked off as always. You always count as having influence, if you will, in that location. So what are you trying to do in the game? You are trying to race the other players to get 4 of these spyglass tokens, okay? These clue tokens. And you are going to do that by completing expeditions as required on these tokens, having influence, having a character in each of these 3, for example, and then cashing that in, letting you move up on the orange track. These tracks, as you can see, share 2 colors, a red and yellow, I guess it is, and then a green and blue over here. So this would be a red one. It would move me up on this track right here. You have your 3 characters on your turn to take actions, but the game does ramp up at the beginning. So the very first player is only going to get to use 1, the second player gets to use 2, and then 3 after that, or if you get the 4th, 4 after that, for the rest of the game. I'm not going to worry about the ramping up. I'm just going to show you, we're going to pretend the game's somewhere in the middle, okay? Just for the sake of the example here. So what do you get to do on your turn? Well, you get to send these people out to either this location here and get one of these tokens. You can go to this one and get one of these tokens, or you can go out onto the map, onto the board, by having the correct transportation tokens in front of you, okay? So these 2 are the same. If I send a single character there, I can take the first token here. When I take it, I can leave it in front of me as that transportation type, a ship, or I can flip it over and put it in front of me as a contract, something I'm trying to fulfill. And I don't get to peek before I choose to flip it over or not, okay? So that's the first thing. I can go over here and do the same thing. If you go with more than 1 character to 1, then you'll get the second tile in or the third tile in, respectively. Once you've been to 1, you can go there again. So I cannot go 1, take the first one, and then go again in the same turn and take the first one again. You go there 1 time. The other option, like I said, is going out here. We are all starting from this spot and using the different legs to get to these locations. But you are not really going to have to worry about these barely visible lines on the board. Each location just tells you the kinds of transportation types it needs, okay? So I'm looking at my tile here. This bottom one is taken care of because it's already checked off. So I need the other ones. I need to send one of my people here, and I need to send one of my people to, where is it? Finding it, this one. Okay, so this needs red and blue. This needs red and green. Okay, well, my first action is going to be to send 2 people here and get the second tile in. It's red. I'm going to go ahead and grab that one. I'm going to put it in front of me as a train. That's transportation. And now I'm going to use this last character to go somewhere on the board and start preparing myself. If I go to this one, it'll be red and blue like I said, so I can drop the character off. I'm using these two, and I have to get rid of one of them. So I'm going to let go of the blue one. So that's out. Whoop. That's out of the game, and I keep the rest of these. That's the end of my turn. I clear any of the characters up here back into my pool, okay? And it'll be the next player's go. And they'll do some of what I just did there. If any player bumps you out of a location, because only one player can be in one of these, you'll take it back, but then the token for movement that they would normally discard, they give to you, okay? So let's say it comes back around, and I'm going to send one of my characters here. By the way, when you begin a new round, if you want to, you can evacuate these locations willingly if you need the character for something. So I'm going to send one here where I need it. It says red and green. I've got that. I'm going to get rid of one of them. And then I'll use this last one to go here and take a token, let's say. So that's all counts as phase 1. And then phase 2 is basically cashing in these expeditions. I have everything I need for this one. One person here, and this one accounted for. So I am going to score it. I'm going to get a number of ticks up on the matching track equal to the number of characters that are participating. This one here doesn't count as a character. So I've got 2. I'm going to take my token and move it up twice. And then this is done. I can get rid of that. And just like I do when I use movement, I have to lose one of these people. So I'll pull back this one, let's say. This is gone. This one can stay out there. If I had multiple of the expeditions face up in front of me, then I could be a little more strategic about which one I leave behind and which one I pull back, right? So if I, perhaps I'd need this for another one I've got in front of me and I'm working on. So that's how you make that decision. And then it's the next player's go. Once both of your characters make it up to the 4th step over here, you earn your last character, and you can now start deploying that one. Once either one of these makes it up to 5, to 9, 12, or 14 up here, you are going to earn one of these tokens. And when you are the first player to get 4 of them, you win the game. You'll take all 4 of them. You are going to reveal them. They have a number on the back. You are going to find the sum of the numbers. And then you are going to go to the back of the rule book, which has a bunch of these QR codes. You are going to scan the QR code that matches the total, and it'll take you to Google Maps or something, and it just shows you somewhere in the world. The last game I played, it was the Galapagos Islands. And it doesn't do anything, it just tells you this is where the secret entrance to the underworld or something like that, to some hidden place is. But it doesn't really do anything, it just sort of triggers your Google Maps to go somewhere they programmed it to go. So that's the game. That's how it works. You are collecting these and making sure you have the right tokens to deploy your people, cashing in those people to complete the missions, and racing up these tracks to get 4 of these before anybody else. All right. As these run out, one thing, they'll start sliding down as they run out. So you'll start having a problem where, like, if you can't see deep enough into the box, you'll start thinking this is the first one, but it's not. There's another one that slid down. And they sort of settle because there's no grip on the bottom. But if it runs out completely, and when I play this, we use this spot here for about like the first, say, 8 or so of these tokens, and after that we just have to pull them out because you can't see and they start settling in there. But once one of them is out, you just don't deploy there anymore. But the game's almost over at that point. So there you go. That is Lost Explorers. Let's go ahead and go back up top. Let me tell you what I think of it. Unfortunately, this is not a game I am a fan of. I think there are just too many problems with both the gameplay of the game and the usability of the whole package, okay? So let me go ahead and break it down. We're going to go from the top. Theme. Reads very well, but it is so high level, it is so removed that it gets very quickly and easily lost in the play of it. The idea is, as I said, Breaking news. 2 explorers have announced today the discovery of a lost world. They explain that they have hidden clues leading to a secret entrance. This is a new challenge for you. Driven only by your courage, you just have to follow in their footsteps and launch a worldwide expedition. But beware, you're not the only one on this quest. That reads very well. Sounds very exciting. But the actions you're taking in the game are so far removed. It becomes faceless and just gets lost. So, don't love the themes, the sort of thematic tie-ins. Don't work for me, though I like the theme. The aesthetics are really problematic. There's so much brown on everything. The board is quite small. The symbols upon that board, smaller still. It'll be somewhere in the middle of a table. Everyone's going to have a hard time kind of seeing where things are if you're sort of spaced out at all. The box is quite problematic. It's a neat idea that didn't pan out and doesn't really work. It becomes quite quickly a hindrance more than a benefit. You can start playing a little bit faster, yes, and then things go badly. Those tokens start to settle to the bottom of their channels. There's no grip along the bottom. It's just cardboard, so they quickly settle. It's visually and from a usability point of view, this is quite bad. The replay value is also not great. It's very samey, very obvious. The play is tedious and scripted. I did not enjoy I don't think the play didn't really work for me, and I find the replayability to really not change it up. You will discover very little as you play this game from one game to the other one. The game arc is okay. Very quick turns. Game length is tight. The game does not outstay its welcome. As far as, mechanically tying mechanics and mechanisms to the play length. Okay, it might outstay its welcome just because you don't like it at all. But it is not a game that feels overly long for what you're doing in it, is what I'm saying. Ease of play, also a problem. It's visually unpleasant. It's easy to understand, but the game is very visually unpleasant. And all the symbols for the locations around the world are the same shade of dark brown. It's a tiny little piece that up close you can see, that's a mask, or that's Nazca lines or whatever. But when it's across a table, it's just a little brown blob and you're not sure what you should be doing. The box design, as I said, really hurts the playability and the ease of play as well. So all of that. Lastly, tactics, luck, strategy. Again, it's quite obvious. It's somewhere in the middle, though. It's not terrible. I think the game isn't brain dead. You will make a couple of choices. I need more transportation in blue. I'll take that one. And then, I better have multiple missions and face up in front of me, so I need another one so that when I complete one, I can quickly move on to the next mission. That's a thing, right? But generally, the play is pretty obvious, and the whole QR thing on the back of the rulebook is almost like a final insult after you're done playing the game. Because they tell you, collect all of these things, and then flip them over and add the numbers together, and then scan the corresponding QR code, and you're thinking, this is cool. Suddenly, there's a really, really neat, strange, new thing here at the end, where they're telling me to go somewhere and scan a QR code. And then what it does is it just loads some place on Google Maps or something. And they're not even, it's sort of anachronistic too, because one of them was, as I told you, Galapagos Islands, one of the islands in the Galapagos. And then one of the other ones I saw was the offices of the company in France. So a building in France. And I'm thinking, wait, isn't that the wrong time period? I thought this, an island somewhere, sure, is the gate to a world below our feet, but that's dumb, and it's not as funny as maybe they think it is. It hurts the theme yet again. It feels like, maybe there's a more interesting game if this whole QR thing was implemented into the game and not just at the end. So I thought that was just underwhelming. After playing the whole thing, you're the one who makes the map with the clues, and it takes you to a joke. So yeah, overall, this is not a great game. It is not one I recommend. I think it is... The best thing about this game is this cover. I think it's a beautiful cover, but nothing in the game is engaging. And I'm not sure who it's for. It's light and quick enough where kids would play it, and they could play it, but it's so dull looking, I don't think they're going to want to. It is, weight-wise, kind of a Ticket to Ride style game, but it doesn't have the tactics and interest of that. The tension really isn't there for that. The brightness and attractiveness to catch non-gamers and bring them to the table isn't there. So I'm not sure who this is for, and it's not strategic enough or thinky enough in any way where games that normally look like this and appeal to folks that like to dive into a game are going to find any, redeeming qualities in it. So those folks I don't think are going to enjoy this one either. So for me, the game just has too many missteps, unfortunately. It needs a little more interest, and it needs a better box, for sure. This idea of using the box to play didn't work out. So this is going to get a 4 out of 10 from me. That's a thumbs down. This is not one I recommend you pick up at all. There's lots of good lightweight games out there, lots of good exploration games, and again, there's a better game in any one branch I can think this might fit in. There's better games out there for it. So that's it for me, everybody. My name is Z Garcia. I'll see you on the next one.